Hi guys, welcome back to Finpact. So many of you have been asking me to do a MULN automotive update video, and I went through more of an update introduction video in my last video on how BlackRock also had upped their stake and how it could go back to $16 if the macroeconomic conditions improve and that they continue to develop and expand and become profitable in the future. Again, this is not guaranteed. Penny stocks are highly volatile. But I do want to go through some of their financials in this video and why MULN Automotive could still be a good bet for the future. In this video, I want to go through some of their financials and how healthy they are. I also want to show you their price charts and do some short-term price analysis and then some long-term price analysis. And I also want to go through some of their recent developments that they have just announced. Now, before we jump into this video, guys, leave a comment. I know a lot of you guys are super bearish and some of you guys are super bullish on MULN Automotive. I want to know your opinions. Say exactly what you think. Even if you don't agree with me, comment down below. Let's start a discussion and see if this penny stock turns out to be the next Tesla, NIO, or major electric vehicle stock. Now jumping onto TipRanks, which gives you stock analysis tools. So we're going to use that to decide whether MULN Automotive could be still a good investment. So currently the price is sitting at 20 cents and it has been up 3.88% on the one-day chart. And now, interestingly enough, in my last video, I said that MULN Automotive, according to the TipRanks Smart Score, is going to underperform the market as it was a 1. Now, suddenly, just in a few days, the MULN Automotive stock, the Smart Score, has been upgraded to a 2. It is most likely to underperform the market, but not as bad as before. So hopefully we can see this improve as the months go by, as the macroeconomic sentiment, the global recession starts improving, and we can see more developments with MULN. We've also seen that blogger sentiment is neutral. Insiders have sold shares, but some have also bought. BlackRock is one of those that have upped their stake in the MULN Automotive stock. We've also got crowd wisdom being positive, news sentiment, which is fairly neutral. Technicals, however, have been negative. But I want to show you guys some of the risks involved in MULN Automotive stock. So 55 risks, and this is one that many have been talking about, and that is usually the case with penny stocks, especially those which have large capital expenditures, because electric vehicles are not easy or cheap to produce. So 36% of the risks are in finance and corporate. I will go into the debt ratios later in this video. 22% is risk from production. So if there are any mishaps in the production process, maybe a glitch or something that is not made to the highest quality and standard. 15% is legal and regulatory, and then 13% is tech and innovation. 11% is the ability to sell. And this is definitely a fair risk to assume because it can be quite hard to sell when there are major players that have already made bulk production of different electric vehicles, such as the likes of Tesla, NIO, etc. And then 4% is macro and political. Although I do personally believe that this is actually a large reason as to why the stock price is so subdued. Definitely, they have shown developments fundamentally when it comes to some of the acquisitions that they made, such as the recent one of ELMS assets, which will help them improve some of their synergies. And they also had their previous acquisition with Bollinger, and that was to help them accelerate the product introductions that they would have in the market. So they are making strategic acquisitions with different companies, but how these acquisitions will pan out will depend on a lot of different factors. How the management and the expertise of these other companies will work together with MULN Automotive. So we will see better feedback of how that's going over time. Now, the sentiment on MULN Automotive, and I've also seen this feedback through my comments as well, has been very 50-50. So many of you guys are bullish on it and so many of you guys are bearish on it. But the thing is, when it comes to a company that is so early in its development phase, it's nowhere near maturity. It's at its earliest stages. We can never know exactly how successful it will be this early on. What we can do is monitor their progress when it comes to their financials, see how their asset base and their revenues start increasing over time, how well they start rolling out new products and a new line of electric vehicles, and also how they expand to new geographies. Now, just going on to some of the financials that have been released on Wall Street Journal for MULN Automotive. we can actually see that their operating profit is minus 4.33% and their return on assets is negative 201.10%. Now, what is interesting to see is the total assets versus the total debt. So the total assets currently sit at just around 90 million, just under there as of June 2022, as per the last financial statements. And then the total debt is at $10.92 million. So that's at least the 75 to 80 million discrepancy. So that does show a fairly healthy asset base. However, their net operating cash flow has been loss-making. But this is to be expected, especially when a company is spending so much initially on capital expenses to produce the best-in-line electric vehicles that they can. When this happens, usually you will see negative operating cash flows and profits in the beginning, until the company has a full-fledged product that is introduced to the market, until people start buying this product. When people start buying this product as time goes on and they gain more traction and their products are highly appreciated, that's when you can see the revenue start turning into huge positives. But again, the problem is people are impatient, and you've got to realize penny stocks in the beginning stages are still gambles because they are startup-like companies. Sure, this isn't as small when it comes to its finances as a startup, but generally speaking, they're not going to be profitable until later down the line. And that's what the excitement is sort of all about, because we've seen MULN Automotive reach huge highs when it comes to the price because people have speculated and been very positive about it, especially when the markets were good. But ever since the markets have tanked globally in the broader markets, in the stock market and in the crypto markets, that's when we've seen this ginormous crash in the MULN Automotive price. But I think personally, the risk is much lower right now to get in than it was during the bull run when you were getting prices that were like $16. Could you imagine getting in at $16 and then seeing the price crash to 20 cents? Well, it was inevitable because prices aren't going to always go up, especially when we had a looming recession. Now, remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to buy it. I'm saying that it is a very risky stock to buy, but generally speaking, the risk would be lower because the prices have crashed and we are in a market slump. So it's only upwards from here as the global economy recovers, and if, and only if, MULN Automotive deliver on the promises that they have said. Now, some cool things is that they have been starting their MULN 5. So they've been touring around the US and showcasing their MULN 5 vehicle. And just to reiterate, only 11 days ago, MULN Automotive closed on the acquisition of ELMS assets. So that is good news. When a company is able to close on acquisitions, it means that they are at least healthy enough to be able to afford to buy different companies so that they can continually grow. Here's a little preview of the MULN 5, and then people could basically book their time slots to go see it. So they are building a lot of hype and excitement for their electric vehicles. Now, just showing you guys a bit of a long-term picture of the graph, we can see that around the beginning of the pandemic, which is when the bull run started happening, which was ironic because the economy was slowing down. But that is technically when the bull run started, both in the stock markets and in the crypto markets. And this started from around May until we saw huge rallies, till we saw some of its all-time highs. Back in August 2020, we were exceeding $16 and more. And then we did see some major crashes, very much in line like the crashes we saw with Bitcoin and some of the major speculated stocks. And then we continued with a little mini bull run like we saw exactly in the stock market and in the crypto markets back in December 2020. And it did sort of stabilize, but we saw the overall broader markets continue to go down across 2021 to 2022. And 2022 was just not great at all. So we did see a little mini bull run at the end of 2021, but then we saw the crashes in the broader markets, Terra Luna fiascos in the crypto market, and we also saw high inflation and the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates later in 2022 beginning going forward. And that's when we saw the MULN Automotive stock crash to the lowest point where it is today. Now, the thing is, this stock is highly speculative, which is why these crashes have been so big, and it is a penny stock, so there isn't really a guarantee because we don't have enough of a well-established company to be able to assess. It's very easy to look at Tesla and be like, right, these are the numbers, this is what they're rolling out, this is their finances, it's one of the most analyzed stocks. With MULN Automotive, it isn't the case because it's not as well established. The information is also just not there. Whereas in Tesla, you hear analysts covering the company. There's a lot more news coverage on the company. With MULN Automotive, it isn't so much, and and you wouldn't expect that with the penny stock anyway. We can see the MULN stock having a short rally around mid to end 2023. This could be around $8, but then going forward, if we see MULN expand and just fundamentally grow into a much more established electric vehicle company, then I do think we could see all-time highs of almost $20 to $30. But again, that depends on whether MULN becomes established or not going forward, and they do deliver on their promises. Now, looking at the chart in the last few months, it has been a downward trajectory from around the $1.6 region to around 20 cents that we are at right now. I do think we could go down a little bit lower to around 15 cents, perhaps even 10 cents. But after that takes place, I personally think it's a good idea to buy. But again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I may not be accurate, but that is what I personally want to do. I want to dollar cost average in at smaller intervals. And again, I'm not going to put any money that I'm not willing to lose, because penny stocks do tend to be a gamble at such an early stage. But you never know, in the future, if MULN Automotive does become a major player, then the risk is a lot less as the company reaches full maturity. So those are my short-term and long-term price predictions. Again, not financial advice. Leave your thoughts down below where you think the MULN Automotive stock price is going. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button and that bell notification so that you get informed on when I release a video, as a lot of the information is time sensitive. Also guys, check out the snow outside. It's snowing here in London, which is really cool. So a snowy Christmas. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next video. Bye!